Wow. That was a pretty intense countdown.
That was fancy, man. We're like official.
Yeah, I guess that was a new StreamYard feature. Cool.
Was not expecting that.
Not at all. Let's run that back.
Hello?
Hello, Tim. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Good. We're going a little early. That's why it's what we do. We're early guys, but it's late in the evening, I'd say. October 28th, late October. You'd think we'd be, it'd be a nice, cozy evening. That's how we sound, right? Cozy and warm. Well, guess what? It's 80 degrees outside, folks. These are the end times, but we'll be here the entire time until, I don't know, we suffocate or catch on fire, Who knows? But Tim, how the hell are you?
I'm good, man. Actually, it got down to the 50s last night, and
Mm-hmm.
I haven't turned on AC or heat for like a month. And then when I settled down in my chair here to start work, I started typing some things to my coworkers, and I was like, why is it so hard to type? Oh, my fingers are numb. I went downstairs. It was like 60 degrees in here.
Nice, dude.
So
Nice.
I finally caved and turned on the heat. It's at a nice 65 now.
I did wake up and I did turn it on a little bit just to take the edge off because I have a baby in the house. It was a little cold in the house. It was colder inside than it was outside. But yeah, we're 2 days from Halloween. Late October. It's starting to be darker earlier, obviously. I mean, we're pre-daylight savings still, but it's it's dark right now. It's 6:30 p.m. It's that time of year when you get, into that whole scene. But yeah, Thursday will be Halloween with a high of 78. Not an exaggeration. So that's cool. Looking forward to walking Sal around. Sal, who's 18 months, my son, for our new listeners. One, who knows how into it he'll be or if he'll understand what's going on. But yeah, so I'll be looking forward to sweating in my costume as I carry his ass around the neighborhood. Livewire production says that's way too warm for Halloween. Thank you for checking in. And I agree. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, because the leaves are changing.
Yeah.
If you just look around, it's like, this is autumn. But then you're outside all day in a t-shirt and it's just unsettling. I don't like it. But what can you do? This is life on Earth in 2024. But
yeah,
anyway.
I mean, we're definitely at the point where if I don't leaf blow my back area at least once a week, it'll just get inundated. But it just doesn't, your brain can't coincide the fact that it's still almost 80 out and there's all these leaves on the ground.
Yes.
Something's not adding up here.
No, it doesn't feel right. It's like, oh, it's nice that it's warm, but I'm unsettled by it. I don't know. Last year, I didn't have to wear my heavy winter coat once. So we'll see what happens this winter. Who knows?
What's Sal's costume?
He's going to be... Now, we recently realized earlier today that this is probably going to be way too popular because of the recent release of the movie, but he is going to be a little Beetlejuice.
I'm seeing a ton of that. I'm seeing a ton of Beetlejuice and Winona Ryder in her red dress. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. He'll be very cute. I mean, last year he was Slimer. Now he's Beetlejuice. He just loves IP. He's an IP guy. But it'll be fun. We still haven't seen Beetlejuice.
I loved it.
Did you?
I had a blast. I didn't really read any even critical reviews or like listen to any podcasts about it afterwards. But just personally, I had such a good time watching it.
Yeah, that's encouraging to hear. The only people I heard like super dislike it are just like cranks that are miserable. But no, I look forward to seeing it. We're Beetlejuice. We're pro Beetlejuice in this household. I was looking for something. Hold on, let me grab it. It's important.
But yeah, I saw it at my Manayunk Theater is the closest one. It was probably like third week that it was in theater, and still was like a decent amount of people in the crowd. So I think a lot of people saw it. Yeah, really fun. Wasn't like too reliant on the original material, but built off of that and did enough new shit that I was like very into it. And it kind of like had me revisit, not like sit down and watch all of Tim Burton's movies, but just kind of have a revisionist history of some of his movies that I like. I kind of was like, you know what, this guy's pretty cool. Like he's another director where like within 10 minutes, not even maybe 5 minutes of seeing a Tim Burton film and listening to the music, I know it's all like Danny Elfman, but still,
Mhm.
you just know you're like, I am watching a Tim Burton movie. If you were just like going in, with no information, you'd be able to pick it out so quickly.
Yeah, you're like, I know I'm watching Dumbo. But right here.
Oh yeah.
Uh
Nice.
so this is just a book that Tammy painted like probably 10 years ago at this point. We were those people for Halloween. I was Alec Baldwin and she was, what's the actress's name?
Gina Davis.
Gina Davis. A long time ago. So she painted a handbook for the recently diseased, but it says deceased. But that's one of my favorite jokes from that movie, is that he can't read. It's very funny.
Very subtle.
I like that movie a lot. It's so weird. But I was thinking of Tim Burton because we watched Sal's into Nightmare Before Christmas right now. So we watched that like a bunch recently, which is fun.
I gave Kat the free reign of put on like a Halloween themed movie the other night, and she chose Corpse Bride, and I'd actually never seen Corpse Bride.
Never seen it either. How was it?
It's fine. I think it's like one of his lesser movies, but like again, it's so his brain, it's so his creation that keeps me intrigued the entire time. What he's doing with just the visuals and the claymation of it all.
Yes, very much so. And that is Johnny Depp in it, right?
He's one of the voices. Yeah.
At a certain point, he got like addicted to Depp in a weird way.
Totally.
Which, Depp, I could do without. Like, Depp also, there's like a point in his career too where he was just like, this guy's weird. I don't this whole what is he doing? His whole vibe is just way off. But he's also a creep. But what can you do? I liked him in Donnie Brasco. I thought that was really good. Have you seen that recently?
No. I don't even remember he was in it.
He's the main character. He is Donnie Brasco himself.
I think for some reason I get that mixed up with like Summer or Sam. Isn't that a John Leguizamo movie?
I don't know. I never saw it. I think it's a Spike Lee movie. Who knows? We're talking out of our asses here.
Totally.
But anyway, it's Halloween. You got anything? Have you gone to a party yet? I feel like last weekend was the big weekend for the parties.
I did get invited randomly to one on Saturday night, but so there's a beer garden just like a block away from where I live. It's Tired Hands runs it, and it's like this just kind of not an alley, but it's almost like it's a driveway that has like garages along it, and they must have just bought these garages and just opened them up, and they have this beer garden.
Wow, that sounds cool.
Yeah, so Friday when I was done work, I go there like sometimes on Friday, sometimes I don't. But I was done work. It was nice out. Went over there, grabbed a couple beers, and the dude who like is always there on Friday night, this guy Matt, he just knows me, and he invited me to this Halloween party, and it was like had a full on official like invitation and everything that he like
Wow.
forwarded to me via text. But like, I did have just like a lot of shit to do on Saturday that just by the time it was party time, I just texted him. I was like, man, I'm just beat. I don't feel like going.
Mm,
Plus,
damn.
I don't have a costume. Like
Uh,
I've never, when I was a kid, I loved Halloween, obviously, but like as an adult, I don't get a costume ever. That's just like,
mm.
that's too big of a hurdle for me. That's just like what keeps me from doing Halloween activity. But on Thursday, like I already have my candy purchased. I'm psyched to give out candy in the neighborhood, but I just don't want to have to dress up. That's my whole thing.
How long have you been in this house?
It's been about a year and a half now. So
Were
I
you there?
moved.
So you were there last Halloween. Do you get a lot of traffic, a lot of kids?
We actually did. And I think we probably talked about this, how when we were kids, it was like you waited until dark to go out. Whereas it's definitely not that anymore, where it
No.
feels like from 4 to maybe 6 is like the time where you go out. So it's still daylight out. So it's like, safer for children. Um,
Fuck those pussies.
and then by 7:45, 8 o'clock, I hadn't had a knock on my door in some time. So, that was it.
Yeah, definitely. The sun was all the way down before. That seemed like sundown was like the unofficial start time. I feel like, but I don't know. I mean, but we were still for most of it. We were with our parents till we were a little older. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wasn't. I never had. Until I was like an old, like 20 or 21, I didn't go trick or treating alone. I always had a chaperone,
Yeah.
but
Probably
maybe that's
by
just me.
it's like 11, 12 is when I was going around with just my friends.
Yeah, we get like nobody, like 0 kids,
Huh.
which is odd. And there's a bunch of kids in this neighborhood now. Um, I don't know. It's just been a weird phenomenon. I mean, I trick or treated here when I was a kid, obviously, but there was a change, and I guess everyone ships out to other neighborhoods. I don't know. I mean, that's what we're doing, but that's just because we're going with Sal's cousins who are a little older. Because, like I said, he's like 1, so what is he gonna do?
That's great by you. Like I would have tried to force people to come to me. I have the youngest kid. I have the kid that's probably gonna tap out in like 20 minutes of walking around.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to drive somewhere for your kid, Sal, to like be cool for just a little bit of time to just immediately drive home.
But they have a better neighborhood. They're like
Okay.
last year it was like, there's kids running everywhere, like big groups of kids. It felt like a Halloween movie. It was pretty cool, which is, that's what you want. The kids and the big groups, and they all got their fucking costumes and they're screaming. And then some people go above and beyond and have like they do their own haunted attractions in their yards and stuff like that. You love to see it. You love to get into it. I have decorated with a uh, outside light that like flickers like flame.
Okay.
I got that in, and a jack-o'-lantern that Tammy carved as of yesterday. So, well,
You're festive.
you might call it bare minimum, but it's something.
Yeah, I think in ET when the kids go trick or treating and their neighborhood is just mobbed with kids is like
Mm,
my quintessential vision of Halloween.
yeah,
And I think where I grew up in Drexel Hill, it was kind of similar where like there was a ton of people out in our
yeah,
neighborhood. So it was nice to just be able to walk out our front door and just go walk around the neighborhood.
yeah. Fill up your sack.
Oh yeah, there was one year where dad was still hanging out with me. I was probably like a Ninja Turtle.
Sick.
and he dressed up as a quote unquote dirty old man.
Oh God.
And he just wore a bathrobe, and he had one of those like skull caps that has like scraggly hair out the sides with like
Nice.
the fake circular black glasses.
Yeah.
And then he put beer bottles in his bathrobe that were like full beers. So he just like walked around with me drinking beers as a dirty old man.
That's fun.
And so weird to think about now.
Yeah. But that's cool though. That's, getting into it.
Yeah, my mom hated it, of course. She was like, Tom, no.
And he had no pants on, I assume, too.
He
Like
clearly just was wearing
just a
boxers.
robe, just like out there back when it was cold. I remember one year I was like, 12, 11, 10, something like that.
Middle school.
I'm thinking it's middle school. I don't know what, but for whatever reason, I went to the costume store, which is always a huge fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like
It
that
is a
was like,
blast.
man, it's like there's so many possibilities. I don't know what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna go look at all the scary masks and stuff. It's gonna be cool. But I got a Richard Nixon mask. I was fucking Richard Nixon for Halloween as like, a fucking little kid in 1997 or 8. It's like I definitely thought like I was definitely like trying to be funny or mature or something, but I didn't get it at all. I didn't know Richard Nixon. I didn't know what the fuck Watergate was. I didn't care. I was just like Richard Nixon. And then there were definitely parents who are like, why are you Richard Nixon? I was like, I don't know.
Because I'm Tricky Dick.
Yeah, none of that. I didn't know that. I didn't know to say I'm not a crook, nothing. But
couldn't even lean into the bit.
Not at all. Not at all. But I got that candy. That's all that matters. And then fuck. I loved Halloween so much. We went to Halloween Spirit this year, which is in the I'd say 1/3 of the abandoned Sears at the Concord Mall has been converted into a Halloween Spirit or Spirit Halloween. Mm-hmm. And they have all these huge yard decorations now that are like animatronic things that are pretty fucking scary. And we're in there with little Sal looking at the little kid costumes, and like right next to the baby costumes there's this giant fucking spider with like these teeth, and it's like making this horrible noise and stuff, and it's like this isn't one that gets triggered and goes off. It's just constantly going off like and he's just like looking at this thing like, what the fuck is going on? But and there it's and they got like everything's like about murder. Like they got this there's like a big clown, right? And he had like a big pot of cotton candy he was stirring up or something. And you step on the trigger and he's like, hey, kids, is anyone missing a parent? And then right and then he lifts up his stick and makes this huge thump, boom. And when Sal's like inches from this thing, right? And he's got a fucking severed head on it. And he's like, I found him. So like the bit of this Halloween decoration is I murdered your parent and here's a dead person's head. It's like, yeah, cool. I mean,
it sounds like Sal's just kind of absorbing it all, though. It didn't freak him out.
No, he didn't cry, but that one was a little intense and right next to his face. but it was scary. It's like, man, like, yeah, like Halloween has really leaned into the murder aspect of it, like the horror movie, which is fine, but it's like every decoration has some sort of murder themed terror aspect to it for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, then that was part of, yes, I liked to go and either buy a costume or maybe like piece together shit in the house to make a costume. But if we were going to buy a costume, like I liked looking at all that stuff. Like
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
and some of it was like really expensive, and
Mhm.
it was very elaborate. And like you said, that there were certain houses in town that were renowned for going all out on Halloween. We were not one of those houses, but we liked going to see them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Uh, I feel I just remembered I it was the same thing, the same appeal to me as, like, the same reason when I was a kid, I would walk through the horror movie section of the video store every time and look at all the scary boxes. Like, I liked being like, looking at it and being around it. It's like, it's a safe scare thing. It took me a while to get over the hump to actually watch horror movies because I was very pussy child. But, I was quote unquote into Jason and like dressing up as Jason and stuff probably 4 or 5 years before I ever watched a Jason movie. I just liked the idea of it. I like the hockey man. Like, he looks cool, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
cool, but I was way too scared to actually watch a movie. I would go to elementary school and lie about it all day. Be like, "Oh, Jason's, 5 Friday the 13th 5 is awesome." Like, and all I did was look at the back of the box. Like, "Remember the one part?" And I would just describe a picture on the back of the box. But I could watch them now, no problem. Hmm. What about you? Did you watch horror movies as a child?
No, my I mean, so I think I've told you how in Lansdowne, we lived across the street from the Holbrooks, and the Holbrooks had in their living room, they at least had like, I think they had like 2 TVs, and then they had, I swear to God, like 5 VCRs on top of them, and they were like constantly recording shit.
Sheesh.
They were huge pop culture junkies.
Yeah.
Um, and I've showed you pictures of like a little bit of these VHSs that they would give to us,
Yes, like
where
mixtapes, yes.
yeah, and it'd be like this double feature of like Inner Space, then Beetlejuice, and
Yes.
they provided us with like our entire movie collection. Even after we moved out of Lansdowne, they we stayed friendly, and like they kept giving us movies. So like
Let
that's
me let
where
me we just need a little context for our younger listeners. This is back in the '90s. Those VCRs were like $600 a piece back then.
yeah. um, so yeah, if the movies were not in this set of VHSs, then I didn't really see them because
Right.
like I wasn't going to the theater until I was maybe like middle school. I definitely went in elementary school, but it'd be to go see like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie or something
Mhm.
along those lines. And then in middle school was when maybe say like an Ace Ventura would come out, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but still, I wasn't going to see like the coolest movies of the time. So uh, horror was never in my that set of VHSs, and never like in my purview of what I was interested in. And then outside of that, it's like, well, what else influences you at that age? Your friends. And none of
Mhm.
my friends were really into horror. The most, like, I remember a bunch of my friends were quoting Aliens, the second Alien movie, and they quoted it so much that it like didn't piss me off, but it provoked me to get all of the Alien movies and watch them all.
Oh, wow.
They were terrifying. So I think that also was
Yes.
like a little litmus test for me to be like, this isn't even really a horror movie, but it's scaring the shit out of me. So I will not go seek out Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers.
How young are you when you? Because fucking Alien is scary as shit.
Yeah, I swear I've told this story before. So
You have.
because I got provoked
Yeah.
to, see these movies, mom and dad got me the entire
Yeah.
3 VHS set of Alien, Alien 2, Alien 3 for Christmas one year, and then I like I swear, on Christmas break in one day, watched all 3 of them.
Man, that's tough. I don't know if I would have made it through the first one, like watching it alone at a young age.
And
That shit is scary.
each one was differently terrifying. Like,
Mhm.
because even in the second one, I think what's freaked me out so much was how badass the Marines are portrayed, and then how quickly they just
Mhm.
get taken out, like through paper, like they were
Mhm.
nothing.
Mhm.
And of course, the scene where they're kind of getting close to the nest, and there's still one of the colonists, webbed up, and she starts having a chest burster come through, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just Alien 2 and Alien 3. Like, I still kind of hold up as pretty good. It's like it's definitely the least good of the 3, but it's still, I think, pretty cool.
Agreed.
Like, right off
It's
the bat, they kind of sweep under the rug everything that happened at the end of 2, and that kind of feels shitty. Like, basically, Hicks is dead,
Mhm.
fucking Newt is dead. At least Bishop is still there, but doesn't really play a part, and it's really just Ripley.
Yeah.
So,
David Fincher basically disowns that movie and,
yeah.
blames a lot of that, like, which I'll agree with is probably out of his hands.
Mhm.
Probably some other fuckers making decisions that made it worse.
It still
But
very much feels like a David Fincher movie, and there's a lot that he did in it that I thought was pretty cool, like how, the alien comes out of a dog, so it has more dog-like features. I thought
yeah,
that was an interesting idea.
if I'm on that prison planet anyway, I welcome an alien to come kill me. I don't wanna fucking live there the rest of my fucking life. Fuck that.
Yeah,
That's hell. That's worse than death to me.
yeah.
If I get a life sentence, I ain't making it out of the holding cell. Capiche? Oh man, so I've been working fucking speaking you were talking about work.
Yeah.
So for the past 4 years or so, I was working overnights. Excuse me. And once Sal was born, I stopped doing that. I started working days, but we needed help at work, so me and a coworker, friend of mine, volunteered to do a couple weeks overnight. We got a whole bunch of basically our whole overnight staff is new. So we volunteered like we'll work a couple weeks overnight, get everyone trained up, get us in a good spot. And god damn, I forgot how hard that shit is. And those 2 weeks aged me 6 weeks. I feel like, man, partly because when I did not have a child, I could work overnight and then find large chunks of time to sleep.
Yep.
I'm saying, like, and I thought 2 weeks, that's no problem. I'll figure it out. So I would work, get home at 7:30 a.m., fall asleep, hoping for Sal to sleep late. The latest he slept was 9. So,
That's actually pretty late.
an hour and a half of sleep. Then I'm up for all day with Sal hanging out till it's nap time. So I get him to take a nap, usually like 1:30, something like this. Couple hours there. Not enough. Then I'm up. Time he gets home. Try to get and so it's just like in 2 weeks, I was like averaging 3 hours of sleep a day,
Ew.
which is just not enough at all.
Did you get sick?
I did. I got sick. I did get sick. Like when I went, like last week, I had to like what was supposed to be my first shift back on dayside, or I was too sad to call out. I was fucking puking. I had a fever and stuff. It was bad, but I was able to call out, and then I was able to get I was able to sleep like 10 hours straight. Tammy took Sal to her mother's, and I was just able to sleep and get all caught up. So I feel better now.
Perfect.
But it's like, goddamn. You know, the time I spent at work working, the actual work of being overnight, and that part of it was a lot of fun, but I can't I can't do it anymore. It's like that chapter. I knew that chapter of my life was closed, but now I'm for goddamn certain it's closed. That shit is tough.
But like if you didn't volunteer, was there anybody else that could have?
Right. That's why we were like, it was like, man, we don't really want to do this, but it
Yeah.
really feels like the right thing to do, the best thing for the store and everyone involved. If we just, say, hey, we could do this. And they were very, very appreciative. Like the guy I did it with, who's like my mentor, basically. He's like older than me. I think he's 50, which is disgusting. But he went to the bosses and laid out, like, offered this plan, and immediately they were like, yes, please do it. Yes. So it was like, obviously they were glad we did it. And and it was one of these things where if we didn't do it now, it would just be a problem later. So it's like, let's just do it now. It's before the holidays, let's just get it done. So that's that. But yeah, still kind of recovering, but I'm glad to be alive.
Yeah. I mean, I asked about the sickness because, the times that I, for instance, I've been working overtime the past like couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some shifts where I've done 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then I just continue to do my normal like nightly routine of like
Mm-hmm.
playing video games too late or something like that. And it's like, dumbass,
Yeah.
you gotta cut it off a little bit earlier than normal because you did technically work for a while. You're fucking tired.
Yes, you gotta sleep. You got to sleep.
Or it'd even be especially worse when I was on either 11 to 7 or 12 to 8 and then have to cover an early shift and like work overtime and be like, I'm used to the later shift and then I'm waking up at 7 to work at 8 until later at night and then again go through my normal like nightly routine. It's like, no, again, you're tired. Go to sleep. You're
You
going to get
need,
yourself sick.
yes, you gotta fucking, but that's like
But that's also life without a child.
100%. Yeah. But it's like, you gotta, that's the thing. Like, it's that rebellious thing. Like, this is my time. I'm
Yes.
taking my time
Yep.
to do what I want to do. But then it's like the next morning, it's ouch. I've hurt myself again. Oh man. But that's why I'm yawning so much. I was off today. I didn't do shit.
Good.
But I didn't get a nap, which is, where's my parade? Where's my month? Okay. God, Facebook is you're lucky to be not on it. It is devolved into such a trash. Like, it's just tacky. It's tacky trash. It's overrun by meme pages that just make bad AI
God.
memes to rage bait, basically. And they all say things like, well, so it knows what it learns, your beliefs, your political leanings and things like this, and then it
Certain
shows you the opposite.
ideologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows you the opposite because you're more likely to engage with stuff that pisses you off
Of
rather than
course.
stuff that you like. So I'm inundated with uh AI pictures that will have a caption that's like, I don't mean to piss anyone off, but we should have a month for veterans before we have a Pride Month and stuff like this.
Great.
Constantly. And then both sides, left and right, have co opted this picture of Sam Elliott holding up a t shirt, and they'll obviously wipe out whatever was originally on the t-shirt and put some political slogan for their side on it. And it's like, there should, like, doesn't
That's
Mark
not even
Zuckerberg not have pride in his product? Like, is he okay? Like, he's so rich, he just doesn't care that he's known for this cheap trash site? Like, that shouldn't he have standards of quality?
that's not
No,
even like
junk. It's all
creative
junk.
jokes.
No,
It's
no, it's not. It's just rage bait. The whole fucking thing is rage bait.
like
It's
at least on the Twitter machine, people will like screen grab like something from a current event or like a certain photo op and like Photoshop it to something funny. Like like for instance, I really loved I mean, Moo Dang is still kind of a big thing, but like one
that's a hippo, right?
yeah, the little baby hippo. And I think one
Mhm.
of my favorite ones was someone photoshopped in the Chili's triple dipper in front of her and just said like
Uh,
Moo Dang enjoying her first Chili's triple dipper. And that to me is very funny.
that's cute.
But like, yeah, just I don't know. What you're describing sounds like just the most low hanging of low hanging meme joke possible.
It's bad, and it's all, the pages are like, it's just not even real people. It's all
Yeah,
just like,
AI bullshit.
and it's like bots, and like, I guess they get money per click somehow. And I mean, I'm sure it's just all fucking computers just trying to make people money somewhere, but it sucks. I mean, that's why I had to deactivate my Twitter,
Yeah.
because it was just the same thing. It's like, I mean, and fucking Elon fucked that site up. It's like, it's like so weird now, because like, there'll be a tweet and you'll click on it, and then the first response is a blue check, and it's like some weird news article that like is using the words from the tweet, and it's just like, and it's all, you see the blue checks first, when they're all either bots or weird sites or sad, like, Elon chuds that paid for a blue check and like think they're cool. And it was the same thing. Like, I was just getting my For You page was just, should have been titled "Shit to Piss You Off," or make you want to go jerk off. It's just trash.
Yeah. It's porn, like the Liver King and
Yes.
like,
Oh my
it's just
god,
I
Liver
mean, you
King.
really do have to, like, go over to the follow like, the people you are following, and I still
Mhm.
stand strong that, like, the people I'm following is why I joined Twitter in the first place.
100%.
It is a pretty still a pretty solid source for, like, sports news, pop culture news, obviously political news, but, like, you're not wrong. Like Elon, it's so obvious why he fucking bought this platform. He's trying to influence this election.
He's
And
such a fucking loser.
the delegitimization of the blue check mark was like the first thing to be like, oh boy, that's a dumb move. And
Yeah.
of course it is. Like, no, not everybody should have a platform. Um,
Mm.
and then the hiding of likes became a thing, which is so funny because it's like people still have screenshotted like one of Elon's likes is some like porn site of how
Yeah.
to like jerk your tiny penis or something.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something that he liked. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder you're trying to hide your likes. But I think it's more for nefarious things like you don't want people seeing how you like Nazi propaganda. Um,
Mhm.
and now if you block someone, they're
They
not
can
really
still,
blocked. Like
yes.
it's so bad. I hear and I see all of the shit that people say about Twitter and how it is so bad, but I don't know. It still provides me with what I'm going to it for.
Where else can you go? It's there, like, if that, but it's like, he's the richest man in the history of the world, right? But all he wants is to be funny, and he's
And liked.
not, and it
He's such a
kills
tool.
him.
Yeah.
So much of this turning into a right-wing chud douchebag is just being accepted by somebody, even if it's the biggest losers on earth. At least they're not making fun of me like those damn lefties. Like, you could have all the money in the world, but guess what? Being funny is a gift from God, and you did not get it, and you can't buy it, and you can fucking go on SNL and be fucking Wario because you see the fucking funny people online reference Wario. So if I am Wario on SNL, they'll like me. And if I marry Grimes, well, guess what? All your kids hate you. You're such a fucking loser, dude. It's like so bad. And that's why Ridley High School sucks, because he was there or whatever.
Oh, is
But
that where he was? It was
he's at
Ridley High School?
High School. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Fucking douche bags. Anyway,
He's a
fuck
tool.
him. And I mean, Instagram's just Facebook. It's the same company. The same fucking rich weirdos who control the current world.
One of my coworkers like referenced something from Facebook, and I didn't even pay any mind to whatever she was talking about from Facebook. I was like, "You still have Facebook?" Because most of my coworkers are younger than me, and I just feel like Facebook is a very like us and older thing. I don't think it's a young person's thing anymore.
Right. Like, is a young person going to sign up for Facebook? I have a
Right.
Facebook because I signed up in 2009 in college or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the same account.
I preface my judgment of her too by saying, hey, I understand that a lot of people keep Facebook because it's a like really easy way for family members to like keep in contact with their grandchildren, their nieces, their nephews, and that sort of thing. Fine, I'll
Yeah.
give you that. But like if you're just on there for the quote unquote social aspect of it, I don't know. I'm passing judgment.
Yeah. I don't get it. I just want them to shut it down. Like, the best thing Zuckerberg could probably do is just pull the plug. Like, it'll be tough at first for many people, but I think in the long run, it'll obviously be better. Because none of the competitors, so Twitter hit it at the right time,
Mhm.
Instagram hit it the right time, Facebook hit it the right time, and they're the three ones that are up there, right? All the other ones that come along just don't gain ground.
Yeah.
So it's like, fucking just unplug those three and just let it rot, and hopefully no one takes its place. I mean, I know you're on
The
Tim,
Twitter
I know
machine.
you're on Truth Social,
Oh,
and
well,
I know
obviously, yeah.
you're on you don't watch YouTube, you watch Rumble or whatever the fuck it's called. You watch what the fuck's his name?
Peterson.
You rocked Russell Brand's show
Oh, yeah.
on fucking Rumble.
Andrew
Fuck.
Tate is my boy.
Russell Brand. He's a Christian.
He's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, loser.
Um, but yeah, actually, there is scientific studies being done or have been done where it's like people have admitted that like if it were taken away from them, or if it were taken away from them and it was not an option at all, they would be totally fine with that. It's a total FOMO situation. It's a fear of missing out. They think that if they like deactivate it, but all their friends are still on it, they're like missing out on something. That's the whole reason that we're all on it.
And
So,
it's
yeah.
like we can't be bored anymore. So it's like, if I don't have Instagram, what am I going to do for the 45 seconds I have to wait in line at the supermarket?
I find myself when I'm
What, am I going to
watching
sit there and
sports
think?
in the commercial breaks,
Yeah.
immediately phone.
Boom.
I'm like, what am I doing?
Right. I can't just sit here and think for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if they just went away, everyone just quit the same time, cold turkey, forced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's why but
my baby steps version of weaning myself off of that just force of habit of like, oh,
mm,
I'm bored in my mind and just like subconsciously opening Twitter.
hmm
I've now been going to Discord and like because there's plenty of like chat channels in there that I'm interested in and I just don't partake in because it's not my like default to go to that. So now I'm
hmm
opening Discord and like joining in those chats and it's like a little more productive because it's like, we're talking about the Flyers, we're talking about the Sixers or whatever in the PHLY Discord chat that I'm in and there's like a lot of fun discussions going on there that's much more healthy
yeah.
that than like I said, looking at an advertisement for the fucking Liver King or whatever MGM, gambling app they're trying to sell me.
Oh, the Liver King can't live much longer, I don't think. He's gotta be dead soon, you would think. Poor guy. But he'll be on the show next month.
Special guest.
You brought up, PHLY. I think you had some sports discussions you wanted to bring to the table?
Yeah, actually, it's been a while since we recorded, so this was probably towards the end of the Phillies season, so we're not in the playoffs yet.
Mhm.
And I'm just listening to the Phillies PHLY podcast, and they're like, it was probably a post game show, and they're talking about who was good, who was bad, doing the typical rundown, upcoming schedule, injuries, farm system. Anyway, Gargano, I guess like so I've actually been to the PHLY studio, and it's like the seventh floor of this building, and pretty much like kind of center city, like center north city.
Okay.
Um, and it's a really nice studio. It's like the main part of it is this huge lounge where they have like a couple of video games. I want to say they have like NFL Blitz and like I mean arcade video
Mhm.
games. I want to say they have NBA Jam is one of them. They have like Papa Shot. They have a ping pong table. They have like this big ass like nice couch with like a bunch of TVs to watch actual games. And then at the end of this giant lounge is a couple of like a nice proper recording studios. So
Mhm.
I
Why were you
guess
there?
so one of the beat writers for the Eagles, Zach Berman, he wrote this book, and he was having a book signing, and so I signed
Mhm.
up for it and just went down and hung out. And it was like
Oh, that's
me,
cool.
him, another beat writer, Bo Wolf, and then probably like no more than 30 other just like fans.
Mm.
So he signed his book and he talked about it, and he also just like we all just bullshit about the Eagles, asked them questions and stuff. It was cool. But so anyway, like I guess during this Phillies podcast, you know, Gargano must have walked in to do maybe record his show in the other studio, but he popped in on the Phillies broadcast and he just like it had nothing to do with the Phils. Well, he at least like commented on what they were talking about just for like a minute, but then immediately went into like classic Gargano, WIP violation type bullshit of like
Mhm.
I guess a conversation he was just having on his show was, if you make pasta, do you when you make pasta and if you do a red sauce, do you buy a pre-made like in a jar red sauce or do you make your own from scratch? And like, the one host, this guy Jamie, who has like I think at least a child, if not two, said like, honestly, I probably just go for the pre-made jar stuff. And he, was up in arms about that.
"Oh, what are you doing?"
It's like, and Gargano, his whole persona and his Philly accent is so ridiculous. It's like it's almost like you're watching someone do a skit on SNL about how Philadelphians sound. It's so unbelievable. So I
His
think
shtick.
that alone like kind of bothers me about him,
Mhm.
but still just like it brought me back to like the WIP days of stuff that I just didn't like of like pitting us against one another. And I just wanted to be like, you know what? Fuck off, Gargano. He's got kids. He doesn't have time to be fucking making a red sauce from scratch. And even though he even tried to like make the excuse that, it doesn't take that much longer, he at least was admitting it takes longer to make your own red sauce from scratch. But I was like, yeah, no shit. But like, I don't got time for that. All right. I also, I don't have kids, but I don't eat really for pleasure. I just eat out of necessity. So
Jesus.
like I'm not like really crafting some recipe, or I don't have uh my Italian grandmother's fucking red sauce from scratch memorized or something to just whip up no problem. Like that would be an endeavor for me. That is not easy for me to do. And it's just so annoying. This like, oh, Fugazi, oh, like, what do you mean you don't make it from scratch? I mean, come on. It's like, okay, just shut up. I don't know.
Did he say he cooks it, or like his wife cook it? Like, cause
No, he
that's what
says he makes his own sauce from scratch. I guess every single time he wants a red sauce, and I'm like, okay, man, good for you. I'm very proud of you. Not a, like I am so culinary illiterate. Someone like Adam Costa probably would agree with Anthony Gargano, but I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and I just had to like say
that
it to you.
dude sucks. He's fucking old guard WIP and then left WIP or was forced out or fired. But then he was like, if you remember, went over to the Fanatic where he was going to
Yep.
go head to head with Angelo, got fucking railed, crushed, then went to like, afternoon or middays or something. Got crushed. Then he fucking, while he was still under contract with 97.5, announced he was going to PHLY, which was illegal. And he's just a fucking idiot. And there's a big, like, that's what what do they call it there? Do they call it PHL Philly? Like, what do it have? Do I have to say PHLY every time? Or what do they call it?
I think they do just refer to it as that. I know it's kind of annoying to refer to it as the
So they
acronym.
put like a fucking
It's not even an
billboard on the
acronym.
highway for like, guess what? PHLY, we got Anthony Gargano, the guy that sucks and could not beat WIP, but he failed on the Fanatic. But guess what? You should be excited that he's here.
I know.
What are you doing? Just
and
because he's like a somewhat popular name, he's just always yelling.
Yeah.
Just a fucking classic Negadelphia, but also he's Negadelphia, but he's also like, we're tough. We're a tough town, and that's why you love Philly, because we care about our sports and we work hard. We're blue collar, and I'm a South Philly, and we love our sports and come on, cuz Bo, shut up. Like, this is the classic shit that sucks, and was a little disheartening to see that, because the PHLY is new and you want him to succeed, but that seemed like a misstep to me, because I know he's probably not, I'm sure he's making a lot of money.
So
And they're in the early stages. They
right.
probably still have angel investor money and the initial fucking all that shit. So why spend all that money there?
I mean, like, sports media, I think, has been in flux for years now. I mean, you saw the rise of The Athletic, and then a lot of people have fled The Athletic because it also got bought, I think, by like the New York Times, I'm pretty sure. So at this book,
here's what The Athletic did: took every good sports writer from every local paper, right?
Mhm.
Put them on The Athletic, sold The Athletic for like $1 a month, while they blew through all their fucking investor money, their fucking angel investor capital. And then same thing all these streamers do. It's like, we have all these subscribers now, but there's no way we can continue charging $1 a month if we have to charge real prices. Everyone leaves.
Plus, part of their big gimmick was that they didn't have any advertisements on their
Right.
website, which they didn't.
And now they have to.
Yep. So anyway, like, PHLY comes along and it's kind of similar, but so at the book signing, it was actually very interesting. Someone asked about like the landscape of sports media, and they kind of got into their relationship with The Athletic, that they didn't hold or pull any punches. They definitely did not have a good experience there because the writing side is something they always did, and they still really loved doing that, and The Athletic was good at promoting that. But
Mhm.
the whole like podcasting side of the business was like two separate entities, and they did not communicate to one another. And specifically, the Eagles podcast, it was called Birds with Friends with Bo Wolf and Zach Berman. They had like the biggest numbers of anybody on the fucking site, and
Mhm.
they did like nothing to promote this. And they're like, guys, like these numbers are something you can sell to a
Mhm.
potential advertiser. Like, why don't you care about these numbers? You know, it was like pulling teeth with them. Anyway,
Yeah.
so eventually they left and they go to PHLY, and they're just like one example of how the difference between PHLY and the Athletic, where like they're leaning in to all the podcasts. You know, they do literally daily podcasts
Mhm.
and they stream a shitload. Like they're on YouTube all the freaking time.
Mhm.
And I mean, you know, there's a lot of money to be made right now on YouTube streaming this shit.
Mhm.
Anyway, kind of getting aside the point that, yeah, I get it. Like you're bringing in this big name. I don't think they needed that. I don't think
Right.
I
Yeah.
thought they were
That's what
already going
yeah.
to be successful. I have not once listened to Anthony Gargano's show. Like,
It's like be successful doing your own thing. Don't get a retread from the old guard and then the B site too. Like
and like
a
I
WIP and Fanatic Castaway is your big signing. It's a bad look.
and that kind of feels like you're leaning into, this isn't like the athletic side of things, but like you're kind of leaning into the sports center side of things. You know, that's what I think Anthony Gargano kind of represents, is like where sports media has gone that we don't like. And
Mm.
especially in Philadelphia, where it's, yeah, just like the Negadelphian bullshit. And I don't know, it's such a small minor thing that this like red sauce comment triggered in my brain, but it was so upsetting. I was like, gosh, I don't like you.
Yeah. No, he's that sucks. Just one of those guys that always has such a strong opinion about how you're supposed to act.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're fucking annoying, bro.
Like if I'm hosting you and my main dish is going to be a pasta dish, then yeah, I'd probably investigate something proper made from scratch. But
Mhm.
I don't know, like the way he was posing it was like, no, he's just making a meal for himself and making a sauce from scratch. And that was just very upsetting to me. I was like, well, you know, kudos to you, man, but fuck you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No.
To give you my other sports thing that I just wanted to bounce off of you, and it was leading into the Phillies Mets series, which we haven't talked since the Phillies got bounced in the first, well, technically the second round of the playoffs, um, by the Mets. But
Mhm.
going into it, I was like, God damn, I really didn't want the Mets to beat the Brewers because I hate seeing a rival against my team. And then by the end of like the Phillies losing, I realized I didn't actually hate the Mets that much. Um, but still, it like provoked this kind of conversation in my head of like, who are my current hated teams in sports right now? Not even necessarily like rivals to the Phillies. Like, what are the teams in sports that I really, really hate the most? Um,
Rangers,
the
for
New,
sure.
the New
I
York
hate the
Rangers.
New York Rangers. I hate their fans. Um, I just fuck them. That was when you originally posed the question to me, that was the one that sprung to mind. Now, if we go to football, I mean, it's like the Cowboys haven't been relevant in so long, you know what I mean? It's like, I totally understand hating them when they were because they have fans everywhere,
Hmm.
and when they had like, when they were winning and stuff
Yeah, like
in the '90s,
Aikman, Emmett Smith,
I could
Michael Irvin.
totally see being like to their fans around here, "Fuck you. You you're so cool. You know, be like a modern day Chiefs fan. Like you're just a fucking. But it's like at this point, it's been so sad for so long. Like it almost feels sad to hate the Cowboys. Like they're taking care of themselves.
They're humiliating
Yes,
themselves just
yes,
fine.
yes. So it's like in football, who
So
do I hate?
they're still my number one with a bullet, the Cowboys. And I would argue against what you're saying that, like, yes, they do go out in humiliating fashion, but they have such high aspirations. They still are like neck and neck with the Eagles every year to win the NFC East, and they still have Super Bowl aspirations, really, ever since Dak Prescott became the quarterback, even going back to like Tony Romo before
Mhm.
that. So like it's been a long time that they have been relevant and they have been very good. That is why like they it's between them and the Eagles in the NFC East, and then there's even some times where they've faced off in the playoffs. Like I do still truly hate them, and I think it is because of the added aspect that like there's way too many Cowboys fans in this fucking city, and it drives me
Yes,
nuts. I'm like,
everywhere.
look,
Yeah,
I can deal with a New York fan because we're not that far from New York. You know, we're 2 hours away.
yeah.
I kind of get that. You're probably from there. Okay. I can accept that. No, you're not from fucking Dallas. Why are you wearing that jersey?
Yeah, yeah, I used to feel the same way, but I'm no longer WIP's lapdog, Tim. So I don't care. But I mean, like, eh, fuck the Chiefs. Like, it's like I was like they're like they have current. I mean, the like before they won, as they were building up, it was like, oh, cool, the Chiefs, and
Now,
then they won a Super Bowl. It's like good for them. I love you love to see it, someone new, and now it's like I'm tired of these fucking Chiefs. Fuck Patrick Mahomes, his weird fitting helmet. And he's always bitching to the refs and gets all the calls. And
that's a good one. I didn't
they
think of the Chiefs.
cheated the Eagles out of a Super Bowl clearly. So fuck them. But good
My
for Andy Reid. Good for Andy Reid. There's fucking losers in this town like Angelo Cataldi who like still talk shit on Andy Reid. Like I'm nothing but happy for the big guy. But
I
fuck
think I
the
did.
Chiefs.
Did I tell you about the one time I served a dude at Appetites that like out of nowhere kind of went on an Andy Reid rant?
No, recently, like
This is back
in
when I was working there.
2003.
This is probably like 2018 when I was
Mhm,
working there, and I used to work Sunday lunches, and it was a good shift because like we had the NFL ticket through DirecTV, so we got all the games. If the Eagles were on, we would obviously put them in most TVs, but then we
mhm,
would find a spot for every other game
mhm,
happening at the same time and put it on a TV somewhere. So it was just known that if you were a Ravens fan, you could go to Appetites and watch your fucking game.
mhm.
Anyway, this dad who used to come in with his like 3 kids, a decent amount, nice guy, seemed rich as hell. um, and this is just what they would do on Sundays. I think lots of times there was like sports for the kids going on, and maybe this was like their pit stop for
Yeah.
lunch. Anyway, like um, maybe a Chiefs game was on, and I was like, oh, good for. I don't know what I said. It must have been something about like good for the Chiefs or good for Andy Reid. And he went on this tirade about like hating Andy Reid's guts because he like, you know, never never grieved enough for his like son's death,
Whoa,
and like and
whoa.
why he should have intervened with his son's lifestyle before his kid like overdosed on drugs, and like he went on this fucking rant that was like, whoa, man.
Totally different direction than I thought you were gonna go with this rant.
Now,
Oh
mind
my
you,
god.
his kids weren't at the table while this was happening. I think so. We had like a Papa shot in the corner, so I think they were like playing that So it was just to me. At least he wasn't like doing it in front of anybody else, but it was like out of nowhere. And I
But
was,
still, man, that's crazy. Like, bitching about what he does as a coach, knowing how little you actually know about it and what goes into it is one thing, but bitching about his life as a parent, which you know even less about,
to,
is just out of
to
control,
be so
man.
judgmental of his son's death,
His dead
his dead
son.
son.
You're
Like,
fucking out of your
whoa.
mind, dude. That is nuts. I thought you were gonna be like, "I hate that motherfucker. He never ran the ball."
No.
No, totally different.
But yeah,
Jeez.
the other NFL team that I've grown to hate of recent is the 49ers. I really do hate them.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like after 2022 when, Brock Purdy got knocked out of the game and then they beat the shit out of the backup quarterback,
Mhm.
all within reason of the game. They weren't penalties or anything. They hurt their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Shit happens. It's a violent sport. And then the entire off season, they did nothing but complain and bitch and moan. And we would have beaten the Eagles if we blah, blah, blah. And it's like, guys, you got beaten fair square. Shut the fuck up. Take your lumps and move on. But no, they bitch so hard about it that the NFL changed the fucking rule so that you can have this like third emergency quarterback for this rare scenario that your starter and your backup get knocked out of the game. You can pull this fucking emergency quarterback out of the fucking dugout to come
Oh
play
god.
for you.
I
Which
didn't know
also,
that.
by the way, Niners, so you think your third string quarterback could have beaten the Eagles that day? Cool. Tell me another one, assholes. Like, gosh, what sore losers.
I hate yeah, I'm not a Niners fan by any stretch. I'm not save that Christian McCaffrey shit for someone else. Like, I don't give a shit about him at all. Brock Purdy, I don't stop telling me how little money he makes. He deserves that. He sucks. Like, shut the Niners can fuck off. Like any legacy team like that, Niners, Cowboys, like
Steelers.
Steelers.
I don't hate the Steelers, though.
No, me neither. Like, fuck Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, yeah.
It does suck that he had to be their quarterback for so long. He's a total piece of shit loser, but I don't know. I can separate him somehow. I don't know. I like Pittsburgh. I've
But
never
yeah,
been there, but
plus the
I don't know.
49ers have Joey Bosa, who's a big MAGA chud.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the Chiefs have that kicker who
Oh, yeah.
who thinks women must stay in the home and not leave the house ever and just have kids. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Um
The other one,
Also
go ahead.
I was trying to think who riles me up.
So I'll give you one though. I actually kind of put them in order. This is my number 2,
Mhm.
the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, we're
I
going baseball.
Well, just any
The
sport, really.
Braves. I have to be honest here. I mean, they have a racist ass chant, and I dislike the Braves greatly.
They're usually pretty good. And like they're
They are.
usually going to be competing for the division that my Phillies play in, So and in the 90s, they were fucking amazing
Mhm.
and they
No,
pissed me off no
th
end. So that's why
they
I
have
really
they have cowboy style fans too everywhere. Like, you're either like a Yankees, Cowboys, or Braves, Cowboys fan. Yeah. If you asked me this question last year, I'd be totally on board with you. Braves 100%. But I just don't care about baseball anymore. I'm being honest. I didn't watch a second of the Phillies in the playoffs. I am out on baseball. Uh, I like the second the Phillies put up that hype video hyping their advertising jersey patch. I Every ounce of joy related to baseball in me melted away, including all bad feelings. If it was last year and the Phillies were playing the Mets, I would be, planning 9/11 part 2. I would be like, I fucking hated the Mets so much forever. I hated the Braves. I loved seeing the Phillies knock out the Braves. I even went to a Phillies game this year post patch and put aside my things because I went with my dad and my aunt, and it felt good to watch them beat the Braves. And there were a bunch of shitty Braves fans in the house, and it felt good for that night. But it's like I don't care anymore. I'm I'm done.
I'm
Fuck.
so confused though why this advertisement has set you off to no end. Like it's already in basketball, it's already in NHL. Like
Here's the
this was an inevitability. I don't understand why like this is so
It doesn't
upsetting to you.
have to be an inevitability. How much they have they have unlimited money. Why do they need to add more money? They could have so a league it's like they're going backwards as a league. Once you make it to the top, you don't need to put ad patches on your jerseys. Minor league teams need to do that. Fucking low level leagues that need to make money to stay above water need to do that. That makes sense. If you're a struggling league that needs cash, go ahead. But once you get to the level where you've made it, you take them off. You look good. I'd say 90 to 100% of my enjoyment is visual aesthetic. And every second that you watch a baseball game, you could see the ad patch. You can't see it all the time with hockey. You can't see it all the time with basketball. Football, the sport that treats its athletes the worst, doesn't have them yet. But it's just like it's why would you go from major league to minor league when the league's not struggling? It's just gross and it sucks. And it's like I have to look at it. If I'm a Braves fan, every game I tune in to see a giant yellow Quickcrete patch.
Yep.
The fuck are you talking about? Oh, I'm a Padres fan. I love Motorola. It looks so bad. And now they added advertising stickers to the helmets. This is like the Korean League. It's trash. So yeah, fuck them. They suck. They are a joke sport. Like and I really hope they fail and there's no league within 5 years. And I hope whoever signed off on this advertising frenzy, because I mean, okay, I every inch of the stadium is covered in ads.
Yep.
The grass is covered in ads. There's fucking a million commercials. Every section of the show is brought to you by a different brand. Fine. Leave the visual aesthetic of the players and the uniforms alone. No. This is fucking a trash league. Fuck off.
The RAV4 fourth inning.
Exactly. Whatever. Do all that shit.
It's truly like, Idiocracy or Ready Player One. There's just advertisements everywhere.
The Philadelphia Phillies are dead. They're the Independence Blue Cross Phillies that happen to play in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter where they play. It's trash league. They should play all their games in England and have big stickers all over their bats and helmets advertising a bunch of bullshit. It's not a real league anymore.
Yeah, I see your point about specifically MLB. I guess I just kind of knew this was coming, so I already accepted it. I feel like you just overall hate capitalism.
Well, it's trash, and it's bad. It's bad for the world, but I mean, you can still have class and be like, capitalism doesn't have to equal tackiness. It doesn't have to equal like fucking selling out 100% of your fucking morals all the time to make the most amount of money. That's when it's bad. That's the state we're in now, which, hopefully we pull out of without having to go through a horrendous war or something.
Well, yeah, we're about 7 days away from deciding some of that.
Nah, they're both on the same fucking team in terms of money. Like none of that shit. Like who the fuck's gonna change that?
Yeah, I know. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's all bullshit. I already
No,
wrote it.
I'm with you though, and it does suck that like at the end of the day, you're beholden. You have no say in the matter that the people that run these teams are the richest motherfuckers on the planet.
Mm,
Luckily we have a guy like Jeffrey Lurie who I think actually gives a shit. And I mean, this is totally aside from advertisements on fucking jerseys, but I feel like if Jeffrey Lurie were presented with that, he might actually deny it, because he does actually seem like a level-headed, regular as a rich guy regular can be human being.
yeah. The owner of the majority owner of the Phillies, the guy who everyone's like, he's so awesome. He said, I want my trophy back. He really
Middleton.
cares. Middleton's so full of shit. All he cares about is money. He made his billions by selling his family's tobacco company. Oh, he's such a good guy. And now he sold his team out to a for-profit healthcare company. Like he's profiting from both ends of evil. Fuck him. I
He's
want my
the
trophy back. He's like these fucking WIP idiot dogs are so easy to please. But also impossible to please. It just is infuriating. I hate the Celtics.
So that was one that came up in my brain too, but I kind of more just respect them. I'm like,
Fuck that. They
okay,
don't deserve respect. I don't respect any team with that like whose city actively hates the race of the player on the team.
yeah,
Fuck Boston. Fuck the Celtics. And
yeah,
they always beat this. I mean, they fucking beat the shit out of the Sixers all the time. It sucks.
yeah.
I hate them, and I hate their stupid fans. And
The last one I wanted to bring up was the Penguins, and only because I wanted to just point out that I don't hate them anymore because they have been irrelevant for many years now. They won back-to-back cups, I want to say in like 16 and 17. And by that point in time, I was like, yeah, I mean, fucking Crosby, Malkin, and Chris Letang and the Flower, are just freaking awesome. So good for them.
Yeah, it sucked
It
having
did suck.
them so close, just whooping ass. And all of those players being as good as advertised, Crosby being as good as advertised, Malkin being as good as advertised, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Like back in 16, I still probably had them in my top 3 of hated teams across all sports, but now the Flyers have been so irrelevant, and really the Penguins have been irrelevant. So it's not really.
Yeah, now Crosby's an old man, and it's like
He's still really good.
Yeah, for sure. But now it's like I'm also older, so it's like
Yeah.
I now respect you for all you've done.
Yeah.
Like that's like there's the there's obviously fandom, and it's like I want my team to win at all costs.
Besides the Phillies.
Not my team. Don't care. Could not care less. Like what happens to that dump? They should bulldoze it to the ground and build another shitty Xfinity Live. Who cares? Like they move the team to Center City and play on a rooftop with no parking. Who gives a shit? But also, okay, what makes me think of this is LeBron James. And I wasn't I mean, I was a kid, so I don't know what the Michael Jordan of it all was during the era. But there are people that go through. So LeBron James started playing when I was in high school. I've watched his whole career. Not closely, but what I mean is I've been around, whatever. Sure. And it's like
even from afar,
you
catch snippets of LeBron's greatness. Yeah. Sure.
And then there's people whose entire lives, and for this whole chunk of their life, they're more than their fandom of anything is they're identified by their hatred of LeBron.
Yeah.
And like their whole identity is saying he's not Jordan, he's not Kobe. You know what I mean? It's like using that like whether you like it or not, you're living through a period of greatness in sport, which, you know, doesn't happen all the time. And you can, it's just a weird thing to just be like such a shit about it and like just a fucking turd.
You can get so in the weeds on such an ancillary, just like unimportant discussion to not that you literally take it for granted.
Yeah.
And then you can't take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm witnessing history right now. You know, like Shohei Ohtani, like I was going to bring up the Dodgers. You know, I have a little bit of hatred for them just because like the Phillies in the 07, 08, 09 era of Phillies were facing the Dodgers in the playoffs. So I have a little bit of hatred towards them. But now that Shohei came around, I'm like, fuck that. This guy rules. Go Dodgers.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just, you know, like you're talking about like, oh, who's the greatest? Like, who's better, Kobe, LeBron, or Michael? Like, who cares? Like, just watch LeBron go do LeBron things. Like what he did in the fucking Olympics was so goddamn cool.
Right. And to be the guy like on the side with your arms crossed, like, yeah, he's not that good. You know, he's not that good.
He betrayed my Cavaliers.
Why'd he go to the Lakers? Yeah, just shut up. He's like, you know, Jordan didn't need to do it. Jordan did. Shut the fuck up. You're fucking annoying. Like it's like I'm not saying everyone has to be taking it for granted is the correct way. You just said it. It's like, dude, it's like you're gonna, I mean, you're probably stupid, so you don't really have a brain and can't look back on things like I acted poorly because you probably never think you act poorly. But it's like if I acted like if I watched Michael Jordan's entire career and the whole time was just like he stinks. Yeah,
he's not good on defense.
Or like, and it's like you're not witnessing all this fucking crazy shit. Like, well, he gets calls from the. You're fucking missing the whole point of everything. It's like, man, this is it's a entertainment product first and foremost, and he's a huge fucking star, and it's like it's the end of his career. Just like he's insanely got his son on the team for no reason who doesn't belong. Like it's just like
yeah,
these crazy stories, and it's like, guess what? He never raped anyone. Okay, you want to compare him to Kobe? That's the only comparison you need. But regardless, but it's just like that whole like, well, I'm what's who's a person that is always on the who always takes the other side of the argument, no matter
contrarian.
What. I'm a contrarian sports fan. Yeah. Okay, great. I'm sure you're so fun to be around. I'm sure your family's not annoyed by you at all times, but whatever you want to do. If that's like, I just feel like you're wasting time just being like, you go through this entire huge chunk of the NBA just being like, well, the best player in the league actually isn't that good. Fuck off.
Sound like the Ben Shapiro of sports.
Exactly.
I mean, hell, cool. even now, like when Jesus Christ, Francisco Lindor, when he hit that grand slam against the Phillies, I was like, initially I was like, oh, you know, like I was not upset. I was just disappointed. But then like I looked back on it and I was like, that was pretty fucking badass. He just went up there, the best player on his fucking team that got them to the playoffs. And he, in the biggest moment, blasts this grand slam. Like, I mean, you know, so even against my own team, I'm able to like take myself out of the moment for a little bit to be like, respect, bro, you know, tip my cap. Hell,
if we can jump right real quick, that made me think of something because you were talking about Andy Reid earlier.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid was in the McNabb era. And before I was off Twitter, a young sports fan tweeted, it was like, man, I don't know how you guys in Philly made it out of that era alive, all those losses and stuff. And it's like losses
in the NFC Championship game.
Right. It's like, okay, one
But
team in every league wins the championship each year, right?
mm-hmm.
That's very few, by the way. And it's like, that's like 1/10 of the season. Like, if you're a sports fan, the seasons are like big chunks of your life, right? It's like, this is my entertainment. This is what I watch on TV every night or every week. And it is what it is. And it's like, I obviously want my team to win the championship. Teams, very few teams do win championships. And it's like, and one of those WIP numbskulls, Paul Jolovitz.
Yeah.
He would be
Jolly.
Jolly. He would be on the radio sometimes when I drive to work overnight. And he would be like, all I care about is championships. Nothing else matters if win. So, okay. You know what those eras were like? A ton of fun. Like, the fucking Eagles were good. They won a ton of games. They were fun to watch. And it's like, yeah, they ended in disappointment. But if you're a fucking psycho that only, like, okay, so they lost the last game of the season, therefore all my enjoyment for the entire rest of the season is voided. This season sucked. The team let me down. It's like, you're fucking up your life, man, because what are you going to do? Just like, unless you lived in fucking Boston when they won every sports championship for every year for every sport for, like,
a decade.
It's like, dude, more than likely your team's gonna lose at the end. One team's gonna win the championship, and you're gonna spend 3 months just like fixated on that. It's like, enjoy the games, enjoy the team. You get to know the players and stuff, and it's like, good things happen. And I mean, some seasons are tough and bad, but it's like that. Like, how did I get through that era? Easily. They were good as shit. They were like
so
always winning
good.
the division.
They beat Dallas.
Yeah, it was like they beat the Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb era. They didn't win a championship. True. They got to one. I've never seen that before. That was super exciting to get to the Super Bowl. They were always in the playoffs. It was always fun. And it's like you can't just live like, okay, so my former baseball team, Phillies, the team formerly known as Philadelphia Phillies, lost to Houston in the fucking World Series. So I'm supposed to. So that whole run, that incredible run, that I saw from Rob Thompson's first game coaching against Shohei Ohtani and the Anaheim Angels in person, the first game I went to that year where they won and they went on a huge winning streak and they made it to the playoffs and they fucking beat the fucking
everybody.
Braves and they and
I think it was the Cardinals first.
Yeah, it was the Cardinals and a crazy comeback, and all that's just erased because they didn't like. So that wasn't fun. Now that wasn't a great time. It's like, dude. Yeah,
that's a perfect example because, and again, initially, even 3 years ago when I was more of a psychopath, Philly fan, like initially I was upset, but then I kind of looked back and I was like, man, Houston was really fucking good, man, but hey, that Braves series, and just like the firing of the coach, to Thompson coming in to light a fire under them, to go on that run, Bryce Harper finally gets to go to the playoffs, to which is why he came here in the first place. Like there was so much. He hit
a home run to send them to the fucking world championship, but it was just like, dude,
these are moments. These are fun things.
All those fun times don't get erased when the bad thing happens at the end. And like I said, there's how many teams are in the NFL, Tim?
I believe 32.
32. 31 of them aren't going to win the championship this year. So that means, let's say, there are 31 fan bases full of hundreds of thousands of people can't enjoy the season if they. It's just
but that going back to the Jolly comment of like I count championships, like that's a cliche that has permeated a lot of sports fans, and I used to kind of think like that yeah, it all doesn't matter unless you win the big dance, and it's like, no, fuck that.
yeah,
Because like
yeah, good.
I had a Giants fan attack me last year, of all people, a Giants fan. And he was going in on the Eagles about like, and it was this premise of like, well, I count rings, I count championships, and for all the amazing things that the 2022 Eagles did, and everyone kind of thought they were this dream team, they still didn't fucking win it. So what does it matter? And I was like, all right, first, Ozzy, you're drunk. Secondly, you're a Giants fan.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even have a shot because they're such trash. So at least my team is competitive every year and fun to watch and enjoyable and has a chance to win said championship. And if they don't, oh well, too bad. I go home and play some World of Warcraft. Like
right. And like people like that, and people like Jolovitz and the people that think like that, like I only count championships. You're not involved with the team at all. Why are you talking like this? Anything you do has zero effect. Like
it's because they want ammunition. They want something in the holster to fire at, their rivals, their haters online or in person, whatever it may be. They just want to be like, yeah, well, we got a championship this year.
No.
And it's like, well, it's
just so Jolly. Okay, you only count championships. Stop putting the rest of the games on the radio. You know what I mean? None of that matters. Why even televise it?
It's just like literally in a video game using the option sim the game, simulate it.
If you have fun at the game and it's not if you have fun as a regular season game, you're a piece of shit. Okay? Because that game doesn't mean anything. One game matters, game 7 of the finals. And if you don't win, that's it.
Fuck, like last night, the Sixers played the Pacers.
Crazy.
And they were 0-2 going into the game. The Pacers are pretty good. And, Embiid and Paul George still aren't playing. Maxey goes out there and plays his ass off. And all of the role players, whether it be Kelly Oubre or some of these new guys they brought in, they played their fucking ass off and they won in overtime. And like, I will remember that for probably the rest of my life because I'm a psycho, but still, that was fun.
Yes. And most of like the season is games like that. And that's your winter. That's going to be your winter this year. If that, like you don't watch, like if you're not an ER, you don't watch ER or whatever. I watch the Sixer and like, these are my stories,
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, obviously you want a good ending, but sometimes you get Game of Thrones, then the ending sucks. So you're just going to toss out all that good time you spent? Obviously not. It was a great episode of the Sixers. It was awesome.
We're in season 1, episode 3.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
So funny.
I don't think Embiid or George are going to play before Christmas.
Oh, damn. That's quite a take.
Oh, man. I saw that knee thing and I just was like, it just has the feeling of one of those.
Yeah.
Once they reevaluate it at the end of this week.
You talking about Embiid or are you talking about Paul George?
Paul George. Oh, Paul George.
Oh, I think he'll be back.
I don't know, man. I hope you're right. And I hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm just being cynical and scarred by by the Sixers' medical history.
Yeah.
But they both have the stench of the endless will reevaluate in a week.
Yeah.
And then they reevaluate in a week. And then it's like, we'll reevaluate in a week.
Yeah.
And then you get a big announcement and be like, after the All-Star break or something insane. Well, we hope not. But they very bad karma surrounding that team from shitty ownership. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like, God, I love the players and I want the best for them, but I wish one of them would just stomp that loser's head in on the sideline, whatever the fuck his name is, the Commanders and Devils owner. Fuck him. Josh Harris.
There it is. I was like, it's Josh something.
Embiid should just like dodgeball spike him right in the face with a ball and like just shatter his whole ugly face. If he made any money as a hedge fund guy, I hope he gets shot. Just kidding. That was parody.
Got very violent.
That's what capitalism does. Fills me with rage. But
yeah,
we've been going so long.
Yeah.
Which has been, I mean, I could go longer, but it's late. That 4 o'clock alarm is going to hit early.
I had a feeling these sports topics would get us going.
Yeah, no. I love to cut it up with you. And even though we disagree, I'm not going to say you're a fugazi or that's a violation. If you say you like another team's jersey, that's a violation. Okay, you hate them.
I don't understand. I don't speak Italian.
Hey, that's a violation. You don't eat popcorn at the movies. Okay, that's a violation. That's fugazi.
That's literally the only thing I get. I just get a bag of popcorn.
No, you don't eat. No, you bring cold cuts.
You bring your own snacks.
You don't eat at the movies. It's too expensive. You don't see movies. They're for little fairies in Hollywood. You go out. What you do is you go outside. You play stickball out South Philly. Okay, until the street lights come on.
You play tackle football on the street.
Football.
No pads.
Oh, if I see a player at a Guardian cap, I want to kill his whole family. He's a pussy. Okay, they should.
All right, concussion, uncle.
They should fucking there was no roughing the passer. He used to get his throat stomped in by Concrete Charlie.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Just one more story.
Sure.
Did I already tell you this? But when I saw Beetlejuice afterwards, I went to a bar right next door in Manayunk, grabbed a couple beers, a sandwich. It was a Friday, so as I'm there, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it's kind of like the turnover from normal business to, bullshit frat party that is Manayunk on a Friday night.
Of course.
So like, I'm kind of next to the corner of the bar, and there's like a couple of younger, probably 20-something dudes, and then the token, what looks to be like a 50-year-old dude. And they're interacting, having conversation, and he's doing the cliche, "I'm older than you, let me drop some knowledge." And I'm eavesdropping here or there. It's nothing really that bad. But then all of a sudden, he just says something to the effect of like, "Yeah, I mean, back in my day, there was no anxiety, there was no ADD, there was none of this." I was like, "Oh God,
cool.
You're stuck in 1972." What a life you lead.
What a fucking moron.
I was like, check, please.
Yeah, please, God, get me away from this piece of shit.
And that's it. Sorry, that's my story.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Tim, where can the people find you?
Oh, yeah. So my podcast that I do with my buddy Keaton, it's called Pop Addled. Just search Pop Addled anywhere. We're pretty much at this point a monthly podcast. We're trying to get together for a top 5 movies you were obsessed with, but no longer are.
Okay, I get that.
He equated it, to give an example, to something in music, because he knows that I used to be obsessed with Dave Matthews Band, and nowadays I kind of don't give a shit about them.
I feel like maybe a lot of millennial men might say Boondock Saints. That could be one. You know what I mean? Yep. Oh, yeah. That's fun. That's a fun list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Showgirls. Just kidding. Still obsessed.
Still love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tim, it was great to talk to you. Thanks everyone for
Always.
listening. Thanks
Always
for
a pleasure.
watching. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Later.